So I'm sorry there was a connection problem, so we'll make up for the time. Okay, so I was telling you, um, we now need a platform to develop our data wrangling strategy, right? We're just these are my own recommendations. I don't say they are standardized. So I will want you to please comment on these whenever you feel something is not, I have not written it properly, because you are coming from the industrial background. So I think you should be commenting on that. Okay, so request to mute the mics. Okay, so the problem that we are facing in the industry right now, I have listed these problems here. Most of the problems I think are true. एक तो problem ये है कि I can have the raw data which is stored without any database. For example, I can have data in Excel files and text files, but I do want to query that by using SQL or some other query language, but I'm not able to query that, right? For example, if I have my data in Excel, I can't run SQL on that. So I have to make charts in Excel. So I start making charts in Excel, or I use Power Pivot to design the charts. So that might not be a good way of doing things. The other problem is that if I have a database which is 5 to 6 years old, I can have too many tables, and I can also have too many databases. Although there is a schema, because table has a schema. So, but it becomes difficult to manage. Okay. The third problem is that in the companies, typically, I don't have any proper software for data wrangling, because data wrangling is not a priority. So I don't have any ETL tool, for example, auto ETL or ETL tool in the company, which helps me wrangle my data. What I do in the company is that I directly apply SQL on databases and then show the results in some reporting tool, not even a BI chart. I might like say कि Microsoft का जो reporting server है, I could use that, or I could use the Oracle reporting server to show the results of my SQL queries. So many companies are doing that. Okay, but this is also a big problem because you do not clean the data, you do not wrangle the data, and you start applying SQL directly. So this is the wrong approach. So the gap is increasing between the management and the data. That's what my own experience tells me. So the BI has helped to bridge this gap quite a lot. But as we saw today in the COVID data example, I think by using statistical analyses and data wrangling, you will be able to understand more things about the data than simply developing a BI chart. Okay. So no proper wrangling and no proper understanding of the data. So in my opinion, decision making is being done on inaccurate data. As far as I'm concerned, the decision making is based on dirty data, I think, unless the data team is doing it. So especially the guys who are doing BI definitely need to do this wrangling activities. There is no strategy for integration of data. तो जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दी कि if you are having Excel files and text files and you are having databases, so I want to bring the data of Excel and text file in the database so that I can query them using SQL. Okay. And definitely if I have big data, then I can decide to use a data lake. I can decide to use a data lake for managing my big data wrangling activities rather than a simple database. So we are going to be touching data lakes in the next class, which is the last class, inshallah. because you need to know, okay, what is the importance of data lakes in the wrangling perspective. But हमारे पास आमतौर पे we don't have an integration strategy. How to integrate the data, because उसके लिए we have separate tools, but definitely Pakistan में उसका कोई trend नहीं है. So different data sets are being queried independently for different people in the business. Okay, so either the data is intercompany or intra-company. So there is no strategy for data integration. So that is what is happening. You might have an ERP, आपके पास SAP चल रहा है, and you have different people of the business interested in different types of analyses, and you are just executing SQL at different points of the ERP to get the results and put those on reporting server. Okay. So yeah, these are some of the problems, and the other problem is obviously I might be also maintaining multiple databases. So multiple databases are also hard to manage. I might be having a big data problem. So yeah, so big data problem is also very hard to manage, because I told you, big data wants different databases than SQL, Oracle or SQL Server, etc., etc. So big data के अंदर you need data lakes which are based on Hadoop rather than simply using Oracle, etc. So वो सारे काम हमारे यहाँ आमतौर पे नहीं होते पाकिस्तान के अंदर. So then you will say कि why is the company up and running? Why is the company making a profit? तो मैंने आपको उसकी वजह बता दी है कि the company is making a profit because the customers are not that tech savvy. Customers, it is easy to catch the customers in Pakistan because most of them are not educated at very high levels, and some of them just stick to what they are doing due to their financial constraints. So it's not easy to change your client or change your superstore from where you shop. So Pakistan mein, it's a different scenario, but the competition is very severe in the foreign countries. Pakistan mein, मेरे ख्याल में the financial sector is where you have the most of the problems of competition. But I don't know, okay, banks make, so I try to stay away from banking, but there are so many banks in Pakistan now, and all of them seem to be making a profit. Okay, so it's a different scenario in the financial world. Mizan Bank to Islamic Bank hai, but it's also making a profit. It's one of the top 3 banks in Pakistan. HBL is not an Islamic bank, although they claim to have Islamic banking, but there's no study on how much they have applied Islamic banking principles or how they're applying it. Uska koi Sharia board nahi hai, or maybe hai, lekin mujhe uska ilm nahi hai. Similarly, you have the State Bank. So State Bank, I don't know, State Bank is doing analytics quite a lot, but to what extent they're doing it, I don't know. So yeah, so all of them seem to be going on a good track on the financial side. So although it's better to go towards the things like Muzabra or all those things जिसमें doubt नहीं है, उसमें आप करेंगे तो आपके लिए ज़्यादा बेहतर है. But financial sector seems to be more stable than all the other sectors in Pakistan. All of them seem to be making a profit. Everyone has a bank account. Even small banks like Sindh Bank are also doing good. But the problem is that the banks do have an IT infrastructure in place. But what they are doing is not really, it's not very clear. I know HBL and I know Mizang. और मुझे पता है कि उनके IT departments में अच्छा खासा काम हो रहा है on these technologies. But I don't know about the other banks like JS Bank and Bank Al Habib or Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered में मुझे पता है कि वो कर रहे हैं because it's based on the foreign policies. ठीक है, it's the policy of their foreign branches. But what about the other banks? I don't really know. Sindh Bank में कितना हो रहा है, और I don't know ये जो Sunari Bank में क्या हो रहा है, I have no idea. So all of them seem to have a BI in place, but these are the problems which everyone is facing. So I'm 100% sure that the data is not being utilized 100% for analysis, in any bank, because the banks are right now struggling too much with these issues. which are, proper handling of the data, database को साफ सुथरा रखना है, wrangling करनी है, the database needs to have a very good schema, everything needs to be modular. So they are facing problems there. So analysis हो रहा है, but there is no quantification कि आप कितना data use कर रहे हैं analysis के लिए. ठीक है, so we'll see those in the next slide. So this is a slide. Sorry about that. So yeah, so this is a slide which is related to data governance. Okay, so data governance let's go through it very quickly because we don't have much time. So most of you must have heard about this name, data governance. So data governance is about automating everything that you want to do regarding data. That includes data wrangling, that includes predictive analytics, that includes BI, that includes SQL analysis, that includes data security, that includes data storage, everything. You need to have a policy for that. So the idea is to have a mission, okay, and then to have a council. So you have a data governance council in which all the business heads and the IT heads and the data heads are there. Then you have to develop some focus areas. You need to have some goals, you need to have some KPIs, and you need to have the funding to run a data governance initiative. So these are the rules and definitions that you need to have in your data governance initiative. Develop a value statement, prepare a roadmap, plan and fund, design the program, deploy the program, govern the data, monitor, measure, and report, and it keeps on going on like this. So I hope that this is clear, that a data governance program allows you to develop policies for doing everything related to the data, and that is what concerns us right now. Unfortunately, we don't have that much data governance in Pakistan, और उसका नुकसान हो रहा है. The problems in the previous slides are due to the lack of a data governance program. Okay, decision rights are with the council. Accountabilities, if someone is not cleaning the data, if someone is not following the policies, then he or she is accountable. Okay, so you need to have control mechanisms in place to ensure that things happens, and that can only be done when you automate the process. Uske liye Python is important, right? When you have Python, then you can develop scripts for automating everything. Okay, so data stakeholders are all the business heads and the IT heads and the data heads. Okay, data governance offices, they are the basically data governance people like data stewards, senior data steward, junior data steward. So there are people like those who are ensuring the execution of the data governance program. Stewards मैंने आपको बता दिया है. And this is the process which we follow throughout. जो मैंने आपको पहले भी समझा दिया था. I thought that was at number 3, but it goes on like this. पहले आप एक council develop करते हैं, फिर आप अपने goals बनाते हैं. You set the measures, you set the KPIs, then you develop the rules and definitions. That basically means कि what problems you have. Okay. So कौन सा problem किस बंदे को जाएगा, who is accountable for what, how will you control the data governance program, and who are the stakeholders in this जो कि उसके अंदर काम करेंगे. ठीक है. So data governance is the exercise of decision making and authority for data related matters. So you basically authorize all the business heads to be responsible about the data. Then you have the data governance council. So all the business heads know everything about the data. So that's the gap that I was talking to you about. So having a data governance initiative is going to help you. ये जरूरी नहीं है कि आप एक wholehearted data governance की implementation करें. You can just make a very small initiative for data wrangling. ठीक है. So I hope the overall idea is clear. So let's go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the strategy? So first of all, get all the business stakeholders on board. That is the most important thing you can do, because if your company has different business stakeholders, all of them need to be on the data governance or the data wrangling council. All the chief executives and all the managers from the IT team and the data analytics team or the BI team, they also need to be part of the data governance council. These are the guys who are going to be informing the business guys about the problems in the data. Okay, so that's what I've written. Okay, first highlight the problems being faced due to the non-execution of a data wrangling process. The data team will know how much is being done if it is being done. So wrangling के बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं कि IT वाले, BI वाले और data वाले, all of them should make a statement in a combined statement that should say कि we are wrangling this much data, we are cleaning this much percentage of data, the rest of the data is not clean. Okay, what do you mean by cleaning? We mean this. So the data is not in good shape, the data is raw, we are querying it directly, we are not cleaning it, we do not understand it, but it is working for us. So you need to quantify. It should be quantified how much data is being wrangled, even though not all is being queried. तो जितना भी डेटा आपके पास है, 25 terabytes है, 35 terabytes है, 100 terabytes है, you should know how much data is clean and how much is not clean. That's the thing. How much data is dirty and how much is not dirty. It should be quantified. Associate the amount of dirty data with financial losses. Now that is the most important thing. Okay, the business knows where the money is leaking. The purpose of the Data Governance Council is to combine these two factors. Okay, how much the dirty data is contributing to my financial loss, or the loss or the reduction in my profits, you can say कि मेरा profit इतना आता था, इस साल $1 million कम हो गया है. Has that got something to do with dirty data? So do you understand what I'm saying? कि when you sit together in the Data Governance Council, so you are going to have a very, very good idea on the business side, what are the problems in my data, and why am I suffering a financial loss due to dirty data or not? So this needs to be quantified very, very thoroughly. Only then you will be able to make an investment to solve the problem. You समझ में आ रही बात की? भाई अगर business वालों को ये पता ही नहीं है कि dirty data की वजह से मुझे ये problems आ रही हैं, मुझे इतना नुकसान हो रहा है, तो वो उसमें investment करके data wrangling क्यों initiate करेंगे? This is what is happening right now. Even the data team has no idea कि how much data is clean, how much data is wrangled. All they are interested in कि data लेके आओ, data को transform करो और machine learning लगा दो, या BI लगा दो उसके ऊपर. There is no quantification of how much cleaning you are doing, how much wrangling you are doing of the data. So that's a big issue in our companies right now. Okay. So data ingestion. First of all, I need to connect to different data sources. So I might be connecting to different data sources in different organizations. I might be receiving emails of data. So I need to ingest the data. मुझे सबसे पहले उस data को collect करना है, ठीक है? After collection, I need a strategy for that. For example, okay, when will I collect it? How much will I collect in each go? Or how much time will I gather the data? Where will I store the data? All of these things need to be decided by the council. The first thing to do is to detect the irrelevant data, okay, which has nothing to do with any of the business query that I have or I'm going to get in the next 5 years. There will be lots and lots of columns which are absolutely irrelevant for my analysis. आप उनको clean करें या ना करें वो आपकी मर्जी है. मेरा ख्याल में तो आपको clean करना चाहिए, because in the ad hoc analysis you never know which column becomes important for you. So you should clean, right? So, but this should be autonomous. When you ingest the data, autonomously the irrelevant data should be deleted. या आपको business वालों से बात करके इसके लिए आपको automate करना पड़ेगा इसको, ताकि जब भी नया data आए तो वो सारे columns और सारे rows जो बेकार हैं वो सारे delete हो जाएं. You need to develop the policies for that. Okay. When you clean, when you remove the relevant data, then the next part is to integrate the data, especially if it is coming from different sources. So if I'm taking data from 2 different Oracle databases, I need to put them in one table, right? So what is the strategy for integration? You have to develop that on paper and then you have to automate that. This is a complicated process. This is not easy. और लेकिन जब आप एक दफा उसका पेपर वर्क कर लेंगे, then you can automate that, and then it will be easy. So all of this is being defined by a business problem. You have lots and lots of business problems. हर business problem के लिए आपको एक नया process चलाना पड़ेगा, जो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. So you must identify the business problem and then say कि we have to develop a concrete pipeline जिसके तहत इस business problem को solve करने के लिए मेरे results automatically आते रहें और managers को देख के update करते रहें. ठीक है? So they can continue to see the dashboards on their tablets or their mobiles. You don't have to do anything because everything is automated. Okay. So once you have integrated the data, then the first thing to do is to cater for the missing values. So इसके लिए you need to develop the strategy. You have already done this exercise. 5% से कम हो तो replace करेंगे, किसको किससे replace करना है, mean से कब करना है, interpolation से कब करना है. This is also not easy. You need to develop the policy for that. If your data is incomplete, for example, the address is incomplete, the demographic information is incomplete, again, you need to develop a strategy and a solution. If your data is inconsistent, for example, the data type is not good, string column is coming in numerical column, string values are coming in numerical column, so it's inconsistencies. The dates are inconsistent, there's some inconsistency in dates, there are logical errors, for example. So you need to remove them and develop a solution. All of these things need to be automated. The first time you're going to be facing a lot of problem because you don't know कि आपके data में किस किस्म की problems आ रही हैं. But once you get the hang of the problems, then you can develop script to automate them. Okay, that's the thing that you need to understand. So we have done up to it. Then you do the type conversion. After doing all of this, then you develop a strategy for type conversion. कि यार ये तो मुझे ये इस column को ये करना है, इस column को ये करना है. You can also rename the columns अगर आप चाहते हैं. So all of this has to be automated. उसके बाद, now this wrangling is done. You did everything that you want to do the wrangling, and then you try to understand the data first of all through univariate analysis. अब univariate analysis करने के लिए again you develop a script in Python and automate that and put the result on some dashboard. So the dashboards just should update themselves as the data comes in. आपको हर बार ये काम थोड़ी करना है, ठीक है? So you should be able to explain to the managers कि histogram का क्या मतलब है, box plot का क्या मतलब है, outliers क्या होते हैं, normal distribution plots क्या होते हैं. You must be able to explain this so that they will be able to understand the skew and all these things on their own. Then you can do the univariate analysis categorical. So you can do the string data, you can develop the frequency histograms and say कि ये चीज़ इतनी दफा आ रही, blah blah blah. And then we have the multivariate analysis in which we can do first of all on the numerical data. I have correlation, covariances, I have scatter plots, I have regression. I also have the t-test if both data are numerical. In the categorical, we have the chi-square test, and in the mix we have the aggregate plots and ANOVA. So ANOVA, chi-square test, t-tests, and then all of these together. So this will form your data understanding. So all of these should be on the dashboards, and they should update themselves regularly. आपने इस पूरे काम की आपने script बनानी है. इस पूरे काम की आपने script बनानी है. All of these should be automated in a pipeline. It's just a query of one time. Okay, it's just hard work of once you have to do the hard work. Later on, you are on your own. When everything is automated, हर चीज चल रही है. And after this step, you do the BI charts and the SQL charts. SQL query comes after this. SQL queries जो आप typically चलाते हैं, they should come after all of this is happening. So you need to develop a sort of a pipeline in which first everything that is related to cleaning that you do. For example, ये cleaning जो आप कर रहे हैं, इसकी एक report generate होनी चाहिए, and that report should also be put on the dashboard, like textual report के इतना clean कर दिया, इतने missing values remove हुई, वो भी आप देखें. जब whenever the data gets updated, that report gets updated, and then you're going to have several charts regarding all of this, so the manager can make the conclusion, and then you show the BI charts, or you show the SQL results, and then you show the BI charts. Okay, so that's what you need to understand very clearly as part of the data wrangling strategy. In this case, we need a template to present the aforementioned results in a manner which will make it easy to compare differences across different time intervals. अच्छा यार, 3 दिन पहले मैंने template देखा था data wrangling का, उसमें तो ये था 3 दिन बाद अब ये आ रहा है, so let's compare. So in the self-service mode में the managers will be able to compare himself or herself कि यार ये क्या differences आ रहे हैं, क्यों आ रहे हैं, why this is happening. So it's going to open a world for them for analysis. सही है. How is the skew of the customer sales changing across the years? Which products have sales which are significantly different from each other across different seasons? How is the correlation of sales with customer age varying across different seasons? So the manager can see these charts across different times, and then they can make their conclusions. The results need to be dashboarded and presented as a preface to typical BI charts and SQL analysis or machine learning results. Okay, is this thing clear? So this is what I wanted to stress on you. In our companies, स्टेट बैंक हो गया या कोई भी कंपनी हो गई, इंश्योरेंस की कंपनी हो गई, रिटेल की, टेलीकॉम कंपनी हो गई, typically we do not have any data governance initiatives. Number 1 point. And we do not have any data wrangling initiatives. Number 2 point. So what I will encourage you to do in your organization is to do this POC for the data wrangling stage कि भाई हमें wrangling के लिए हमें करना है. अगर आप univariate और bivariate analysis नहीं भी करना चाहते तो you can at least do the cleaning part. You should have an idea from the IT side. You should have an idea what are my business problems. To solve every business problem, you need to have a separate pipeline. Okay, because those are the core business problems. जैसे स्टेट बैंक का गवर्नर है, उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम क्या है, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट है, उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम क्या है. All of the business problems, IT वालों को, data वालों को, they should have knowledge about that, right? And then for each business problem, you develop a unique pipeline. जो मैंने आपको बताया है, ये जो मैंने आपको दिखाई है, that's the pipeline you need to develop. So that's a one-time, very rigorous activity. So and then everything becomes automated, whether it is on the cloud or whether it is in-house. Then you can just put your legs on the table and relax, and all the charts will get them updated regularly. But at least you have to spend 3 to 6 months in developing this pipeline. Is this thing clear?
Yes, sir.
So any questions?
Sir, in order to develop the pipeline, first we have to understand our company data, that it will take a long time. So first we have to identify what is the problem, then according to the data, then we have to solve the problem. I think it's a 1 year period to make it useful.
Yeah, you see, it depends what is your position in the company, the higher management has to be bought on this. That's the first point. The person who can convince them is the IT manager, the CIO, you can say, or the IT manager, or the head of the data analytics team, or the head of the BI team. They can convince the top management that we need a data wrangling initiative, in fact a data governance initiative, जिसमें हम और बहुत सारी चीजें कर सकते हैं ताकि हम इसको एक दफा सारी प्रॉब्लम्स को हम ऑटोमेट कर लें. That's the main thing.
Yes.
ठीक है, रिटेल का बिजनेस है, whatever. If you automate, if you detect the problem and automate the solution, then your problem is solved forever. So you might have a policy for designing the database. You will have a policy for filling up the missing values. You will have a policy for data integration, for data ingestion, for putting the data in the tables, for querying the data, for wrangling the data. Everything will have a policy defined for it, which is going to be approved by the council. So there is not much to do. You don't have to make an investment at all. You might just need to hire 1 to 2 fresh graduates for this job who can help you develop the data governance initiative strategy. Okay? But the IT guys have to devote time for this to develop it for the first time. यही problem है इस वक्त कि I'll just try to write it down. The problem is that the business has many problems to solve. Okay? Each problem is a permanent problem lasting over several years. Okay, it requires the implementation of a separate pipeline which will be automated so that the business manager can see the results regularly on his device and compare them across the previous historic history. ठीक है, एक तो ये बात हो गई. There is currently a big gap between data and the business problems. That's the main problem. ठीक है, the business problems can only be solved through data analysis. सही है, therefore Data Governance Council is extremely important. सही है, it will help you define a policy for everything you want to do with the data and also automate it. Tension released. ठीक है, everything has a policy. SQL execution, BI, predictive analytics, data wrangling, data storage, cloud, data security, everything has a policy and it is automated. So अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आपकी कंपनीज के प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो तो मेरे नजदीक तो यही तरीका है. You just need to push it. You have the ERP, you have the Oracle, you have the people. You just need to push it. That's it. ठीक है.
So whose job is to automate the data?
Sorry.
Whose job is to automate the data?
It's it can be because the IT department is most powerful. So IT department can, अगर आपका IT department और BI की team अलग-अलग हैं, but the BI team should come under the IT guys. मेरा अपना ज़ाती नजरिया ये है because IT department has the data with them, and the BI and the data side always needs the data. So IT can control the BI team as well. Okay, so IT manager can interact with the data team manager or the BI team manager from time to time, and they are part of the same team. So whose job is to the job hai, that's basically the job of the IT team. You can hire 1 or 2 people who can develop scripts for this. जिनको Python आती हो, उनसे कभी सारा काम है Python पे चाहिए. सही है, ताकि हमारा कंट्रोल हो. Develop the dashboards in Python, develop the script in Python, और script आप हमारे हवाले कर दें. So it's not very difficult to understand. Python is not very difficult to understand. He will develop the scripts and he will develop the dashboards, and that is going to be integrated with your ERP and your Oracle database. तो वो 1-2 developers जो आप hire करेंगे वो IT team के साथ बैठ के they will integrate the script within your business, within your data process. That's the way to do it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then I think please एक बात मैं आपको बता दूं कि ये जो आपको कोविड का अभी जो आपको टेस्ट करना है, that has a very high percentage, and you're also going to be given a final exam जिसमें आपको पूरी data wrangling की एक strategy कह लें या फिर एक पूरा wrangling का पूरा process आपको करके दिखाना होगा. That is also very high weightage. So both these assignments are going to be contributing to your grade. Kindly please submit this COVID assignment with whatever I have told you today. The code is there. You just have to execute it and understand, and then interpret the results. If you don't interpret it, आपके आधे number कट जाएंगे. Because statistical test execute करना तो मुश्किल नहीं है. The code is there. The point is that you should be able to interpret it. ठीक है? So आपने अपनी interpretation भी उसमें लिखनी है. And when I give you the final exam next week, inshallah ta'ala, तो उसमें भी ये चीज़, I will give you enough time for that. You can take 1 week or even 10 days. But I want a very good answer, a very good data wrangling exercise, जिसमें मुझे बड़ा confidence feel हो कि you have learned a lot, you have experimented, you have tried your best, and you have learned it. ठीक है? Is this in clear?
Yes, sir.